Welcome to Market Like a Hotshot. Jeff DeSocio, James Feudo. What's up? Episode 23 today.
I know, I can't believe it. And today is Veterans Day.
Veterans Day. Thank
So,
you to all veterans
yeah,
for your
thank you
service.
so much for your service.
The service and freedom in living in the most amazing country in the world, right?
Yeah.
It's because of you veterans. So
Yeah.
I wanted to kudos to you out there. We know who you are. So
Yeah.
good stuff. Good stuff. So, but man, it is nippy out there today.
I know, we could actually see some snowflakes
I
coming
actually
down,
saw a
right?
snowflake fall here in
Which is wild.
Massachusetts, if you could believe it.
Yeah.
I know our friends out in the Midwest are digging out of like a foot of snow right now, so at least we're not there. But man, they hit us like a brute force this cold weather. What do you think? I got my Newport, Rhode Island sweatshirt on today.
Nice.
You know, it's at the hood. You know, I could wear the hood, keep warm like this. You know, you know what I'm saying. But I tell you, so it's like the weather is getting dark.
It is.
It's getting dark early, right? So today we're gonna be what are we gonna talk about?
Well, we're going to talk about the dark funnel.
The dark
is one of the things
funnel.
that's going to come up in our talk today.
How to market
really-
like a hot shot in the dark funnel era because the weather is getting dark, right? It gets dark early now, and you'll be amazed. Probably a lot of business owners out there, a lot of marketers out there probably don't even know how much the dark funnel influences their success and their revenue.
It really does, and that's actually you know what I just realized is I never mentioned today's topic, which is the episode title, which is influence like a hot shot.
Influence like a hot shot.
So going into what you were just talking about, it's really true. I mean, I know I've shared this with you a few times, but it's the end of the fall, right? And one of my favorite fall
I hate
activities.
the end of the fall.
I know. It's like, for me, it's like if it could be Christmas and then the day after Christmas was like summer, I'd be thrilled.
Exactly.
But yeah, we're in that kind of, it's not too bad because we're kind of going into Thanksgiving, which is.
It's my wife's birthday too.
Yeah,
Her birthday's
so-
on Thanksgiving today. Love you, honey. You know, you're still 30 to me.
But I mean, like we're in that time of year, and one of my favorite fall activities is actually apple picking. And the place that we typically go to for apple picking, they put what their apples, like when it's open, the hours, any events going on in the area, are all on their Facebook page. And it's funny because I will go onto Facebook just for that. And see what varieties they're picking, what are the hours, what to expect. I don't interact with anything there.
There you don't. So
But
it
dark. Influences my decision.
Exactly. So you have to realize most buying decisions happen before someone even follows you. You think about social media, and everyone wants to get so many followers, thousands of followers. But sometimes people might not even be following you, but they may go to your website or see a sign you put up, or they met you at a networking event and they actually buy.
Right.
Your reputation at the end of the day outperforms your reach. You might think you'd be reaching, by doing the traditional marketing, not tips, but marketing exercises, whether it's building followers and the dark funnel is really where that conversion magic happens. Hey, do you have a good scenario, even with JVF Solutions, that happened? Where you might have met somebody at church or...
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple of different times. Once when I was at Trader Joe's, ran into an old friend, and he's like, "Oh, I love all your posts on LinkedIn." And I'm like, "Really? I don't think you've ever commented or liked anything."
Yeah.
But on the JVF side of things, we've had people come up to us that are like, "We love what you're doing with your social media, and want some advice or some help." And those were people I didn't even know were looking at our social media.
I know.
I mean,
I met somebody yesterday. Not the sidetrack, sorry. I went to a great Toys for Tots event last night. Bob Salvis, a good friend of mine, our mentor Dan Evans, God rest his soul, but he got us into networking. I started Mass Professional. But I met somebody there last night. I had no idea who this person was like, "I love your podcast, Market Like a Hotshot." I was like,
love it.
Wow, you listen to Market Like a Hotshot? I mean, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And there was no way of tracking this person.
There isn't. I mean, there's so many different ways that people come across us. And I mean, one thing you and I were talking about earlier today is I actually had somebody call me to do, to quote them on a job. And I'm like, "Oh, how did you hear about us?" And they said, "Oh, through so-and-so." And I'm like, I couldn't even remember who that person was because it was someone I didn't know, but our reputation is what created that connection for them.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, so that's the big thing with the dark web. It's like
right.
we're going to flip opposite of last week's episode where you're measuring like a hotshot.
Yeah.
This is the your success that's not measured, and that's everyone wants to know dark funnel. That's what a dark funnel really is.
Right.
Buyers don't browse; they research privately. It's like that secret browse. I mean, I have some friends that are the most unsocial media people in the world, but they may follow you when they don't tell you, right? They may have like 10 friends on Facebook. You think they're not on Facebook because they have 10 friends. They may follow you. Hey, by the way, I'm on Facebook now, by the way.
I know. Welcome back.
You could see me on Facebook. I still hate it, but
Me too. My least favorite platform.
and you have people out there, they'll lurk at your content, but they'll never put a comment.
Right.
They'll never like you. They'll never repost. Have you ever had that situation before?
I get it a lot. I get it a lot from people that they're like, oh yeah, I like all this advice you're sharing, and I'll even like ask them sometimes. I'm like, cool, if you think it's really useful, it would be very beneficial if you could share it, so then your network gets to see it. They're like, I'm not really into the sharing, but you know what? It doesn't matter because they're still looking at that content, even though they're not interacting with it. Ideally, it'd be good if they share it or at least like or comment because then people will know. Like you and I were both tagged in a post recently, and that one, like I see yours come out. I have like people liking posts that I'm tagged in. I'm like, oh, I didn't know they were connected. Like one of my friends who we do a monthly thing with, she posted something, and then all of a sudden, all these people that I didn't know were connected to her, and it turns out they weren't, just saw it because I was tagged in it. So it's kind of a cool...
They saw the Master Feudo name there, and they were like, I got to like this, right? So talk about the myth of followers. More followers mean more influence. And this is a case where it's not the case, right?
No, it doesn't always mean that.
There's all these micro communities too. Slack, even Zoom.
Discord.
Really, you can't track... If somebody saw something you posted on Slack, how is that tracked back? It's about as dark as a New England night right there.
Such a good way to put it, too, especially these days.
I know. So the reality, 70%, 70 to 90% of the buyer journey now happens anonymously. It's like that anonymous... Am I saying the word right? Anonymous word.
I know. It's like I have to repeat it. Anonymous.
Yeah, because people. You talk about know, like, and trust. People, they trust who they know and not who's popular. I really hate. Not to say I hate this. I hate when somebody buys something because some celebrity says buy it.
Right.
It should be somebody that know, likes, and trusts you. Do you know, like, and trust? I'm not picking any celebrities today, but it's like. And in reality, they don't know you, right? So why would you buy from them, right? So how about getting back to the micro influencers, though? You know what a micro influencer is, right? I'm quizzing you today.
I know. I love when you quiz me.
I quiz him all the time, man. He's Mr. Marketer over there.
And then I'm like, oh, crap, I better make sure I know this the right
You guys
way.
have to be careful. Whenever you become a guest with Jeff DeSocio, you're going to get quizzed.
I know now, like all these people lining up to be guests with with us are probably going to be like, oh, crap, I really better make sure I know my stuff.
You better get your chat GPT.
This is what happens when you partner with a recruiter to do a podcast. You're going to get quizzed. So getting back to your micro-influencers. So they are, there are people that are very, very niche, like very, very, they're popular. I'm not a big fan of using this expression to explain them, but they're a big fish in a small pond. But that small pond is a very significant pond.
It is.
That's the way I prefer to describe it. But and we see those all over the place with all these niche markets that are out there.
Yeah, definitely is. So, jumping into the hidden power players, right? What actually just drives the decisions? Under the radar influences. They mention your name in chats and DMs, but don't post, they refer. So let's say somebody saw your post on LinkedIn or Instagram, didn't do anything on Instagram, but they went to their mothers for dinner and said, James is a great guy. You should probably, I know, Mom, you're starting that knitting business.
Yeah.
You need a website. Talk to James.
Right.
Or, Jeff with his vitamins, right? You're getting sick.
You're tired. You need some vitamins.
You need some vitamins. Talk to Jeff, right?
Yeah.
So it's under the radar influences. And how do you measure? Again, you can't measure that, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can't measure everything, and I think that's something that, like, as someone that loves data and is always looking at data, like,
It's like baseball.
Right.
You ever, like, there's different coaches. I know we're all over the place today.
We are. It's fun.
Must be the snow and the cold. But, baseball, you have these people that are stats driven.
Yeah.
They're like constantly looking at stats. This guy threw 100 pitches. We got to take him out.
Yeah.
Well, he's just thrown like 10 strikeouts in a row. Would you take him out? Yeah, it's like a hunch. And sometimes marketing is a hunch. That's what
it's more of your gut.
It's a gut. It's a dark funnel, right? So,
of course, you're talking to the wrong person, because when we drive into Boston and Cambridge and you do it without Waze, you just know where you're going. And I'm sitting there like, if this were me, like, I need to know where to turn, where to park. But it's like, it's a good way to kind of contrast the two different approaches. So, last episode, what we talked about was more of, you have Waze, it's providing data, it's giving you guidance so you can get to where you want to get to quicker. This week, we're talking about the more dark funnels, the things that you can't necessarily measure, but you still get us there just as quick as if we used Waze.
yeah.
But you're using your gut and your instincts to figure it out. So there's definitely two ways for people to.
So you have the recommenders and you have the researchers. They're the deep divers who send their content internally before anyone follows you. You ever heard of that person?
The deep diver.
The deep diver. They're like, they do research on you, but you have no idea they're doing research on you.
Yeah.
And then they recommend you. So it's like, there's all these ways in that dark funnel land that people, they're talking about you out there. You might say, oh, I got 5,000 followers on Instagram and 800 LinkedIn connections. You might think you're rocking and rolling here. You're getting those numbers up, but there's probably another 800 people on LinkedIn that may not be connected to you directly first level that like what you do.
Right.
So it's that that's why I always say, and this is another reputation like a hotshot. That's probably a future episode.
Yeah.
You got to have a good reputation publicly.
Right.
I can't stress that enough because you got the dark funnel is following you, right? So that's a big thing with the hidden power players. So the recommenders, the researchers, the conveyors. Who are those people? Am I quizzing you? All right, I'll give you the answer, all right?
All these different groups
They're
of
like
people.
mastermind groups, niche events, local communities. Hey, we just had a great election here in Framingham. It's the
you
city.
and I were at a victory party last week.
Charlie, congratulations out there.
Charlie.
Kudos. Glad you won. We're getting political. Sorry. But, it's all these mastermind groups. How does that stuff get measured? Like you meet somebody at a mastermind group. You're in a circle.
Right.
20 people. You might have a conversation with somebody, but how do you measure that?
I'm going to get pretty personal on this one and I hope I don't embarrass you because I know I haven't said this in a while, but like you never know how one connection will influence you. So like I sometimes I joke about it, but the truth is that when I first started my business, and I think we talked a little bit in the journey about this, but like had I not connected with you, you were like, it was like a domino effect, right?
Yeah.
So I connected with you, which led to something else, which led to something else, which, as you kind of go around and look at it, that stuff, unless you really sit and think about it, it's really, it's something that you may not recognize. And Patrick Bet-David, who's another great podcaster that I like listening to, he's done episodes about this too, where he said, I go to one event, I meet one person, and it's $1 million in sales that I get because of that one connection.
So where's my
where's your million, and then
where's my commission, man?
I know the Lamborghini.
The Lamborghini. But I always talk about that in the world of networking events.
Right.
Sometimes people think numbers. Oh wow, I only have 30 people here tonight, or instead of 100. But those 30 people could change your life.
Right.
or one person at a 10-person event
Right.
can change your life. So again, it's almost like a little bit of the dark funnel thing. You're not looking at stats, you're looking at results. And that's
Yeah,
what a dark funnel helps you.
exactly.
Influences, that person influences you like a hot shot.
And to kind of toss one more example, because I think it's really relevant, is that the last time you and I held we used to do these quarterly events, right?
Yeah.
And we had like, I don't know, 18 people sign up, only a handful showed up. But every single person that showed up added value. They were valuable connections for each of us.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
So,
and that's not a measurable thing, but they were
yeah.
influenced our next steps anyways, right? So next topic, as we talk about this dark funnel stuff, right? How to build influence with our followers. So we're started hitting that now.
Yeah.
We're getting off the stats train. Okay? You're showing up in conversations, not feeds. So back in the day, there was a day at one time,
Hmm.
there was no internet, right?
Can you imagine?
There was no social media. There was no Facebook. There was nothing, right? I always think of my dad, God rest his soul, right? He was in sales. He never used a computer, and he cleared probably millions in commissions over his career, right? How did he do that? Conversations, right?
Right.
Conversations, being the person, the people reference. You're providing answers in private spaces. So much he was at his favorite restaurant, Cranston, Rhode Island, Twin Oaks. Right, great. You got to go there, James. You got to take the bride there
Yeah.
sometime. Take a ride to Rhode Island. I know it's over the border, but he closed a lot of deals at this place. But again, it was the dark. He was an influencer, but it was like a dark funnel. How do you track that? I'm
Yeah,
saying
I
this
mean,
over and over, but
I
it's
know.
like,
The thing is it's like, it's a little bit more difficult to track, more so because it's, we've talked about some of these other things too, like Zoom and Discord and Slack and all these channels that aren't traditionally measured. But, the thing, like I said, the thing we do is whenever we're introduced to somebody, it's like, you find out where, and then that can be very telling.
yeah,
But if you realize that is becoming a trend where maybe you showed up to a class, like you and I both spoke at Emily's class over in Clark
yeah,
earlier
Emily,
this summer.
yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Emily.
Shout out to Emily. How you
Love
doing?
Emily.
Clark University in Worcester, Mass.
Yeah, and I mean, like, maybe we meet somebody in that class that will intern for us, and then like that actually happened with me. I mean, I brought on one intern, and because of him, I had 7 others over the course of like 3 years.
Yeah,
So like, it's just like kind of connecting to that one person. But the other thing too is that you want to turn your clients into megaphones,
yes.
right?
That's
That
a
is the
huge,
big thing.
huge deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do a rock star, you have rock star service to one client, you
Yeah.
understand that megaphone. They could be at church,
Yeah.
they could be at a sporting event. They talk about you. It's informal conversation. Imagine something. You do a rock star website for someone, James,
Mm-hmm.
and they go into the Celtics game, and they get on the jumbotron, and they go James effing Feudo did a rock, and there's 20,000 people in the TD Garden.
Yeah.
That's a megaphone. That is turning clients into a megaphone, like we wouldn't believe, right? So you want that. You want people to do that for you
Yeah.
in that dark web. And then, they always say specialists get referred, generalists get ignored. Expand on that one. That's a good one too.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where you want to just be, really well known for one thing. You don't want to be known for building websites and then, fixing people's chimneys and
That would
doing
be
roofing.
cool, man,
Yeah.
if you could do both of that.
It's like I'm on top of
You should,
top
by
of
the way,
someone's
you
roof.
should see
building-
you should see my chimney, man.
Yeah.
You gotta go by my house sometime.
I know I haven't seen it since the new roof.
Oh, the new roof and the chimney, man. It's
Right?
looking
Yeah,
good.
because it wasn't. You didn't have the new roof when I was by last week.
Yeah,
did you?
no, yeah.
I just missed it.
I just missed my new chimney.
But I mean,
yeah.
the thing is that it's like you want to refer people that like you want to when you're an expert in one thing in particular, that's you serve as a good referral for us. Like we talked about Chuck last week, our good
Chuck
friend Chuck.
Goldstone.
Chuck
Shout out.
Goldstone.
Shout out. Lots of shout outs today.
I love shouting out.
Shout
people.
out to Chuck Goldstone. He tells a story, right?
But I mean, Chuck has referred me to like 4 or 5 different people, and
Yeah.
he refers me because of the security and the technical knowledge and things like that. Not always for the web design piece, but like, you get, and it doesn't mean you only have to be known for one thing, but you want to be known for one thing with other people. So like, Chuck refers me for that. Someone else refers me because, I know how to help them grow their SEO. So like, that's where, like, in your case, people, refer you because you've got a big network and you know how to get people.
I get people, hiring managers, man. You got to call me. I got a network, right?
You got a huge
network. I got people. Get me people. So speaking of people, right? So other ways, and I'm going to jump kind of back into our topic here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, how to build influence without followers, because again, it's not about having thousands of followers. Is creating credibility anchors.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking at events. Hey, someday being a guest on the podcast, the Market Like a Hotshot podcast, right?
Only 27 more
27 more, and then we'll start having people on here, so
Right.
get lined up. But how about speaking at events? I mean, again, that's not measurable.
Right.
You might say, all right, there's 1,000 people in the audience. What is it? How do you measure that, translating that to business?
Right. And I mean, the thing is that the way some people do it, if you have a book or back in the day, audio programs.
Yeah.
Remember those things?
Tapes?
Or
Those Tony Robbins
yeah,
tapes?
I used to. I actually, when I used to do speaking about 10, 15 years ago, I used to bring like a case of CDs with me that I would etch. It's pretty slick the way we used to do those things. But yeah, I mean, like you can do book sales and things like that there. But like, sometimes you'll have people that will say, oh, I saw you speaking at this event, and I'd like you to speak at mine.
Yeah, that's the dark funnel again, right? You're speaking. Where's that? You're not on a computer looking at statistics.
Right.
From now, you may have some informal numbers, and you always recommend, if you're a business owner out there, get on podcasts when you have a chance. If somebody asks you to be on their podcast, if you add value, if you feel you add value, go on there, because again, when you're on a podcast, you're in the web, you're on the internet, right?
Right.
Just like Market Like a Hotshot, it's on Spotify, it's on Amazon, it's on Apple, it's on iHeart, YouTube, maybe a few others down the road, right? Who knows who listens to us? We're not measuring that, right? We know maybe somebody officially becomes a follower on Spotify, but that's about it. One other thing I always like, and this is, again, the dark web, and it's on LinkedIn, is LinkedIn newsletters. I've been hopping on that a lot lately.
Yeah.
Because that's another segment where you don't necessarily have to have a lot of followers, right? You just create a newsletter, people see you. You have a lot, and then it's a little bit measured when impressions. You'll see how many impressions you get.
Yeah.
But how do you measure which impressions become revenue? Without a manual process, right?
True.
So that is really cool, man. This is a cool topic.
It is. It's a fun topic.
Hopefully it makes the audience out there feel like, oh, I don't need to be this stats person, and oh, I got to worry about how many followers. Don't ever go out there and buy followers. That's the worst thing to do. What good is that? I'm not going to go with a company because they have more followers than another company, right? I want to go by reputation, referrals, and all that's really through the dark web. All right, I'm talking a lot today. So
I love it.
Tell me a little bit about some hotshot tactics we can start with today.
So let's just start kind of at the basics, which is just to remember, and I feel like we can say this till we get blue in the face because it's something that everyone needs to remember, is just that, followers don't equal a good reputation.
Exactly. Very good. I mean, you got some people that have a lot of followers, and man, their reputation's down the toilet.
Yeah.
Really, it's really bad. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, oh, I have 1 million followers, but I never use them.
Yeah. And then, and this is on your side, drop in one high value insight weekly. in a private community, on a Slack
Yeah.
or Discord or Reddit, wherever you're on, but make it high quality. Have it
Right.
something that people can use. That's a big one. How about
It
another
is.
one?
Um,
Quizzing you
I
again.
know. Going back to you know, showing up, showing up in conversation, showing up, being that person that's trusted and being known for that one thing so that people know how to refer you and know how to, share your influence with other people.
And now, those are good questions. If you're out at a networking event and you meet somebody, instead of doing your traditional pitch, which people don't like,
Yeah.
ask those questions. I think those are great questions to ask each other. How can I influence the people or I think those are
Yeah.
good ways. You're asking questions about how you can navigate the dark web, the dark funnels. That's like a great question. I'm gonna ask next time I'm at a networking event. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go around and say how can I navigate the dark funnel?
And then the first question they're going to be like is, "What's a dark funnel?"
What's a dark funnel, right?
But yeah, I mean, it's a great question to just get other. That's a good, like, what they call person on the street question, right?
Yeah, exactly. We'll start walking around Boston, with the microphone.
Yeah, we're going to do that next time we go to Venture
I
Cafe.
love another navigate that guy. I told you about that guy who goes out to billionaires on TikTok. How did you make your money and all that? We gotta start doing that.
Yeah.
We'll just walk around there. Well, let's go somewhere warm. We'll start in Miami and then work our way up.
Go somewhere that it's not so bad out.
Not like there's no snow falling right now, but
Yeah,
we'll
the
see what
leaves are
happens.
still up too.
With that, we're navigating. So other action, actually, you have any other action tips there? Referral ready snippet, build one. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Be ready. Be ready to refer people. How do you build that? What's that snippet? One sentence that tells exactly what you do to send you away, right? What's
Yeah.
your snippet?
My snippet is, and we have different snippets, but one that I've been using is that we create websites that people remember.
I like that.
It's like I'll talk to people, and I'm going to use I'll use a real life example. I was at an event a couple of years ago, and this woman walks up to the table that I was working at, and she's like, we're like, so what do you do? And she's like, oh, we help people. Like the way she said it was just didn't make any sense to me. She's like, we help people get more leads, and I'm like,
Oh, jeez.
okay, what does that mean? And she's like, we help them. Like, I'm like, well, are you like a salesperson? Do you like? And she's like, no, we help them get more leads through their website. And I'm like thinking to myself, all right, so like what? And it's like an onion. You're pulling back layers trying to get to it. And after about 5 minutes of me saying, so how do you do that? I find out she's like, finally she just goes, we're a boutique web design agency. And I'm like, I wanted to vomit because I hate that term. But like, just
Boutique.
get to it. And it's like, another quick example is that I was on, back in the days of COVID and the Zoom networking, I was on a call, and I can't even remember what this person said, but he introduced himself with his pitch. Minute and a half, I'm the, whatever wizard, blah, 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 blah. And then I listened to him talk for, minute and a half, maybe it was like 2 or 3, whatever. And finally I'm just like, all right, are you a financial advisor selling insurance or a like weight loss coach? Because it was
Weight
like
loss
it was the weirdest pitch I've ever heard in my life. I just start out and I'm just like, we are a web development and digital marketing agency.
What's that?
Clarify what you're doing. Everyone, these coaches that tell people like that's another.
Tell some stories.
Yeah.
Not coaching like a hotshot, but that's not an action. That's a great non-action, I think, to start today. Is don't beat around the bush and tell people what you do. Build that value statement, right?
Right.
So, big thing as we kind of come in for landing. Next time you catch yourself counting followers, count the people who believe in you.
Right. Right.
Really, and you hear this a lot. I mean, I went to a seminar this week, a leadership seminar. Relationships.
Right.
Relationships are not measured. Those are the folks that influence you like a hot shot. That's the dark funnels that we were talking
Right.
about. Not to kind of navigate back to our main topic today.
Yeah.
The influencers are not stats. The influencers are your relationships.
Yeah, I
Remember
mean,
that.
like you're saying, influence doesn't live on a profile; it lives in conversations.
Yeah, it's all about chatting. I went like the Toys for Tots event last night, meeting some folks, talking. Hey, I got a few more subscribers. I marketed like a hotshot last night.
Nice.
They thought
I
I
did
was like,
see an uptake in
yeah,
uptick in our
they
stats.
have colors like, wow, that's the coolest name for a podcast. I was
It
like,
is.
I know.
I know, and that's you deserve credit. You're the one that came up with that name.
I know, right? I'm actually there was a few musicians there, and we were talking about doing podcasts, calling it "Rocket Like a Hot Shot." Da-da-da. Well,
I want to be like, and I'm a big WWE fan. I'll admit it. And I was bummed that I couldn't be at Raw. Monday Night Raw was in Boston last night.
oh boy,
John Cena's last match in Boston.
yeah, he's retiring.
He's retiring. He won the Intercontinental title. I was bummed that I wasn't there. But what was kind of cool on there is they show all the podcasts that WWE does.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a fun thing that, it's like this whole podcast thing is out there everywhere. So that's
a big one.
yeah,
It is
it's a
big.
huge,
So,
huge thing.
let's so thanks for listening to us today. You put up with us. But if this episode sparked something for you out there, share it where a person needs to hear it.
Right.
Really, I think this is again influencing like a hot shot, because that's how real influence spreads. So listen to us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, iHeartRadio, and you want to see these dimples,
Yep.
right? YouTube. All right, marketlikeahotshot.com.
For your
Get
merch.
your hoodies for your merch. Keep warm, and we'll see you all soon. Market Like a Hotshot. Jeff the Social.
James Futo.
Have a good day.